Rose, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit today. It is the last podcast that I will be doing here in Oldenburg, and I'm looking forward to being in Berlin again. Now it's getting to the point that I'm freezing. I mean, I'm even inside and I am just cold. I'm so cold that I find myself squeezing and hugging coffee mugs, and that's all that I'm drinking is coffee after coffee after coffee. And would you believe it that I'm drinking my coffee out of a normal mug? What is this world coming to? But I really like this color, so I kind of opted for this instead of a teacup today. Plus I need something to hold on to because my hands are just freezing. Let's get first into what I'm working on, I guess. I don't really have a lot of room to put everything. So I will take this, my project bag, and set my coffee down. Delicious. They have a Senseo machine here. We're normally just brewing our coffee from a standard, cheap coffee machine. You know, where you put the grounds in, and I mean, a Senseo machine isn't that expensive either. It's quite cheap as well, but it tastes, I would say, a little bit better. I like it. So, what shall we talk about first? I know. I think I'm like a little girl on Christmas morning because I am so giddy. I am so excited. I finished my shawl. I feel like I could jump from the roof, and I'm so happy. You guys have no idea. I completely changed the design this time around. At first, I had mentioned that I only changed one or two things. In the last week, I have, this shawl pattern actually has given me so much trouble because things just weren't going right. Math wasn't working right. The stitch pattern I was using wasn't working right at all. Nothing was working, basically. And I seriously, after ripping out so much yarn so many times, I finally said, you know what? This clearly isn't working. This stitch pattern wasn't meant to be for the shawl. So I kind of used that stitch pattern in a way because it's something that I liked the idea of, but then I actually improvised it and made up my own stitch pattern for the lace section. And I love it. Finally, it came into play that it worked out perfect. And I think that all needed to happen. I really, this is the first shawl I've ever designed. And I think that I thought it was too easy. I thought it was way too easy. I thought a triangular shawl, I can whip that out in no time. And the textured part was so simple, so quick. I did that like nobody's business. But as soon as I got to this lace section, first of all, I picked a lace section that didn't even work for my mathematics. It was impossible to fit it in. I was knitting a 6-row repeat with an 8-row repeat increases. It didn't make sense. It couldn't work. And I don't know why I didn't think about this in the beginning. And I kept trying to figure out ways to make it work, but you can't fit something inside of something that is just impossible. You can't fit a house inside of a cup, basically. So I changed it, and I love it. I am over the moon, so happy with the way that it turned out. I knit it with the Bijou Basin, yak, 75% yak, and 25% baby merino, and it is just fantastic. I love the way it turned out. I cannot wait to show you guys. I will be releasing the pattern next week. The pattern is completely finished. It just has to have pictures added to it. And I can't do that until I'm back home in Berlin. So the release date will be next Thursday. So look forward to that. If you guys want to get your yarn for it, it's really cool because I've done 2 different shawls, 2 different kind of patterns for this shawl, and it's really versatile because I've done it for the DK weight, which is the bijou basin, and then I've done it for a fingering weight, which is the Decadently Divine, the squash blossom yellow one that I knit. And I think it's nice. So for the DK weight, you need about 400 meters. So about two skeins of DK weight is what I used. And then for the fingering, you can just use a generously sized skein of sock yarn or of a fingering weight yarn. So I used about 450 yards of sock weight yarn, and it just looks fantastic. Both of them turned out great. So totally get your yarn going for that. I'm thinking that September and October I will be having a knit along going for this, and I will have some amazing prizes, which I will be talking about next week. So you can cast on as soon as you like. As soon as the pattern releases, you can cast on immediately, and I cannot wait to release it. There is this pattern is just so special. It's named after something that reminds me of my grandma. I'm not releasing any information until the pattern comes out. And I did base this shawl pattern based on a Robert Frost poem, which is one of my grandmother's, of course, one of her favorites. And I'll talk about that a little bit more next week because the pattern comes out on Thursday, the podcast will come out on Thursday, and I will be showcasing you my shawl. I'm over the moon. I'm like I said, a little girl on Christmas morning. I cannot wait to share this piece of myself with you guys. I'm very excited, very, very excited. So that has been taking up so much of my time this week. Like I mentioned, I have knit and ripped that thing 5 bajillion times. Thank God Elodie was really into coloring and playing with things, because like the other 2 weeks, and I said, I'm not really knitting so much when Elodie is awake. This week I knit a bit while she was awake, but she was fine. She was fine playing with her dollies and coloring, because I needed to figure this out. My mind just wouldn't stop working. When I laid my head down at bed time, I was thinking about the numbers and the math and just thinking about this shawl. But I am in love with the way that it turned out, and I hope that you all will be too. So that's one of the things that I've been working on. So I have no more knitting to knit on because I have used up all the yarn in my featherweight cardigan, which is exciting because I know when I get back to Berlin, I will really be able to knit on this. And I just have a little bit left. It's kind of sad though, because I bet anything I could have finished this, and definitely the body of it, and maybe one sleeve while I've been here. And I would love that. I want to have it finished, and I'm very much inspired to knit more and more cardigans. I can see so many featherweight cardigans in my future because this is such a fun knit. Now, I can only say that when it's properly finished. I'm loving it right now, but we'll see how I feel about it when it's completely finished, blocked, and on. So here is how it looks. I've got quite a bit of it on. I haven't tried it on in a while. I haven't tried it on since the last podcast, actually, when I said that I probably should. But yeah, there's quite a long back on it. And this is the Query Fiber Arts. They're tweed in the Dauphiny Day colorway. Just absolutely stunning so much fun to work with. This has such a silky feel. Like I mentioned, I swatched for this, but I didn't wash my swatch. I don't think. I can't remember. But I'm sure it will fit perfectly. So it's gorgeous. It was so much fun to knit up. I knit this up very quickly after our last podcast, and I'm very excited to work on the rest of it. It will definitely be one of the first things that I'm knitting when I'm getting home. And who knows, maybe it'll be the only thing that I'm knitting, and knitting it just like crazy until it's finished. So that's for our classic Must Knits knit along that I'm doing with Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast. It was her idea, actually. She's the one who thought of the entire thing, and it was just fantastic. Such a good idea. I am still so curious if I will need another skein of that yarn. We'll see. I don't know how I'm going to do the sleeves. I kind of think that I will do them elbow length, because for my body shape, it's quite a nice length, and I am so commonly pulling my sleeves up. But then again, I don't know. I have no idea. I think I'll go at the seat of my pants and do exactly what pleases me as I'm knitting it, I guess. I don't really have a plan on the sleeves. We'll see. We'll see what I decide to do. So because all of my knitting is done, I am so tempted to now go ahead and knit those sleeves on Elodie's cardigan. I haven't decided if I want to do elbow length, quarter length, or 3/4 length, I mean. If I want to do long sleeves. I have no idea. Now, if I want to do long sleeves, I definitely have to go ahead and purchase a second skein of the artist palette yarn. But I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I'll just have to see again what I think when I pick it up and when I knit on it. And yeah. I want to talk a little bit about some fun things that we've been up to. So we did go ahead and go to that yarn store here in Oldenburg, and we kind of made a special trip there. We needed to get a couple of things for Elodie because it is so cold here. Like I mentioned, we needed to get her some pants and a hat, and we got those. So while we were there, the yarn store is very nearby. There's like a marketplace with everything, a lot of different stores, and ice cream and a yarn store. Anyway, so I went into the yarn store. It's not very large. It is very, very clean looking, and they have a lot of Lana Große yarn, a lot of German yarns, a bit of sock yarn, just kind of everything as far as weights of different yarn. And like I mentioned, it's very clean from shelves to the floor to the ceiling. So I kind of started having a look around. They had some really nice 100% wool Lana Große, I think it was maybe 1-ply yarn, and I thought, oh my goodness, these would make beautiful leg warmers for Elodie, and they were on a 50% off sale. So I kind of looked at them, and then no one had greeted me at this point. I had just walked in and I was being ignored. There were 2 women in there, and they were kind of talking. One of them was talking with another person, and then the other woman was just kind of standing there looking at a book. And so after I had looked for maybe 3 to 4 minutes or so, I walked over to the desk and I said, hey, I'm Molly. My name is Molly. I have this podcast. I would love to show my viewers a little bit of your yarn shop. And I asked them if I could film. And while I'm talking, I was talking to this one woman, and she was listening to what I was saying, of course. And the woman next to her kind of like looked up at me and then looked down at her book. And then when I finished, the woman who I talked to said, I need to ask my boss. And then she looked over at her boss, who was standing there. I don't know why the boss didn't say anything. And then she looked over at her boss, and then her boss looked up at me and said, "Knit." And then she looked back down, and knit is like, means knee, and that means no, basically. But the way she looked up at me and just said, "Knit," and then looked down was just so rude. I thought it was so rude. She, as the boss, was basically listening to me sit and have this conversation, and then waited to see what her employee would say, and then looked up at me with a rude, just kind of, new. And I was quite offended. People can be friendlier than that. I mean, for me, it was just sad. It was just sad that this woman owns this yarn store and that she was so unfriendly. At this point, I didn't even want to look around the yarn store anymore. Not because she said no, not because I couldn't film. It's just simply because of the feeling that she gave me and the environment that then turned that yarn shop into. Now, I probably would have bought something in there. I maybe would have bought a skein of sock yarn and probably the yarn for the leg warmers. So she missed out on a sale, and she gave me a bad experience in her yarn store. I immediately left after she said this because ich hatte keine Lust mehr. I wasn't interested at all in looking around. I didn't want to give her business. I didn't want to spend any more of my time in there. So that was such a pity. I have had, however, a really nice experience in a kind of fabric. It's the fabric store actually that I've told you guys about that has loads of buttons, beautiful, beautiful buttons, and loads of fabric of all different kinds. The fabric store that is so expensive, so expensive. The buttons as well, everything in there is very expensive. They have a lot of felting things and books, and as well as embroidery floss and things for cross stitch, and just kind of a well-rounded place. I don't think there is any yarn, and lots of really pretty trimmings and things of that nature. So I went in there again with Elodie. They also have a fantastic corner where children can play. Lots and lots of toys and handmade teddy bears and a beautiful handmade quilt. So gorgeous. I would love to own this quilt. And the woman was so amazing. She was so friendly, so inviting, smiling, obviously not in a disturbingly, "Hi, how are you? What would you like?" But just a really friendly, homey atmosphere is what I got when I came into this place. The first time, not so much. The first time was still relaxed, but this woman was very, very nice. So I gave her my service, and I picked up quite a few things. I'm very excited about the things that I picked up, for the most part. So I started to look at their simple fabric, like the striped, the dotted fabric or polka dots, and I looked at the tag and I thought it said €6. What it really meant is that is how many meter were on the thing. So I told her, I said, I want a meter of this, I want a meter of this, I want a meter of this, I want a meter of this. So I thought, okay, you know, this is cute. I don't have any dotted fabric like this. So it's orange and yellow, and I got a meter of that. And I thought, for €6, that's completely fine. So I had her cut up some of this fabric for me, and I later found that that is how much is left on the bolt. It really costs €18. €18 for a meter of polka dot fabric. And then I bought this one, which was €20. I again thought the same. I thought this was €6. So embarrassing. And then I bought these ones, which I adore. This is one of my most favorite fabric I think I've ever purchased. So this is the way that it looks. It has squirrels and hedgehogs and kitty cats, owls and deer with these beautiful trees and the moon. And I think this is so fantastic for kind of any season it can fit. It kind of has the trees of all the seasons, and I adore that. I think I will pair it with this maybe for some project bags. I completely love it. And then this is by the same company. This really beautiful fabric with, again, squirrels and foxes and rabbits. I really love this one as well, and I think this one will definitely pair perfectly with the green polka dot fabric. They were so much money though. Had I known, I would not have, I don't think I would have told her to, I wouldn't have purchased the fabric. These two definitely, because I'm over the moon in love with them. And then I bought this beautiful, beautiful jersey fabric. And I thought this would make a gorgeous long sleeve shirt. For a child. It's so pretty. Very, very nice, expensive designer fabric. But I had her cut everything, and that's just kind of the way that it goes. It was my fault that I looked at the tag wrong. So I went ahead and I purchased it anyway. So then the next thing that I got are my buttons. I went ahead and did purchase some buttons in there for Elodie's cardigan. I did get the floral one, so it is a complete shabby chic looking cardigan. Whoops, here are the ones that I got for Elodie. They're very pretty here. Maybe I should get a little bit closer. And I love them. They look gorgeous with the cardigan. So here is kind of, it's hard to hold, I guess, but there is kind of how it looks against the color. It's just stunning. I tried a lot of buttons because, as I mentioned, they had a lot of them there. They had a really, really lovely selection. And then I grabbed 6 of these for myself. I think maybe I need to go back and get a couple more, but these were as well. These were €3 a piece. So it's kind of hard to justify having, what would that be, 3, 6, 9, 12, €24 buttons on a cardigan. But aren't these so cute with the little rabbits? I really adore them. And these are like pearl. They're very pretty. I really love them. I even thought about these for Elodie's, but then I went ahead with the floral ones. And I chose these for myself, and I really think that I probably should go back and get a set of 8, just because it's better to have too many, obviously, and I think for a person of my size, a grown-up, 8 is probably way more usable than 6. I would guess 6 isn't very standard for an adult-sized cardigan. And if I do indeed just go ahead and use 6 buttons on a cardigan, I can always use the other 2 for something else. They are so beautiful that why not, I guess. I'll let that marinate a little bit and think about it a little bit more, but I had a lot of fun. I had so much fun shopping around in that store. And Elodie had fun over in the corner. Actually, it's a completely different room. It's still open to the playroom, the handwork store is, but it's still a little bit difficult to see what your child is doing while they're in there. And Elodie didn't like that so much. She didn't like that she was in a new place and that she couldn't really see me. So I held her most of the time because she really wanted to touch a lot of things. But we still had a fantastic time, and like I mentioned, the woman was really nice. They didn't have the hugest fabric selection. It was a nice amount for a small store, and it was a lot of fabrics that I haven't seen in Berlin. I didn't get the cat with yarn fabric. That was a jersey fabric, and I didn't know what I would do with that. I thought it would be nice to maybe make some hats with it, but how many people do I need to make hats for? So that's that. I have been kind of enthralled with kittens lately. When we were at the market, I bought a kitty cat ring, which I don't have on. So adorable. It's really cute. And then I also bought these postcards, which I am over the moon in love with. They're so cute. I wish I would have bought more of them. So, aren't they just the sweetest? Like I've mentioned, I collect stationery and cute cards like this. I wouldn't say really collect. It's not like I have a huge collection. I do have a little bit. I like to always have nice cards and papers on stock for when for example, for a giveaway, or when I'm writing letters to friends or my grandma, or pen pals. I like to have nice cards. So yeah, I adore these. I really, really love them. And speaking of giveaways, I really wanted to thank the person who made a donation last week on the webpage, because those donations really, really help with costs of the podcast, and especially mailing out giveaways, because we all know that postage is just rising to quite a high amount, and it's just fantastic. Thank you so much, anonymous person. So, and the giveaway for our classic must knits knit along, I will be talking about when I return home to Berlin. So there will be so many giveaways in this upcoming month, just to give you guys a heads up. Because of the shawl release, the pattern release, I will be doing a lot of giveaways for that knit along, and there will be something special going along with that. And then for the classic must knits knit along, I will be giving some things away, which is really exciting. Because I finished all of my knitting, except for the sleeves, to my Fleur Blue cardigan for Elodie, I went ahead and I didn't cast on. What am I even talking about? I'm trying to make something up that doesn't even exist. I went ahead and really bit into these Rolags. So these are the Rolags from Spin Monkey. You can see that my spindle has gotten quite full, and that's so much fun. I love looking at it grow, and now I really see that it's growing. So I have 2 left. There's no way that I'm going to have these left over for the car. I have been saving, well, I guess I have 3 left, or 2.5, because I've already used up, I would say, about half of this one. Yeah. And that's been a lot of fun to work with. Like I mentioned, it's the easiest drop spindle spin I've ever spun. The Rolags are so fluffy, light, airy, that they're just fantastic. So I have these 2 left. I have one that's more kind of pink based with greens, and then I have this blue one over here. And I have been just kind of saving this one right here, this pink one, for last. I I don't know why. I mean, I'm going to spin them all anyway, so it kind of doesn't make sense. So maybe I'll spin it next because I love this green that's in here. I know that sounds so funny, but every time I'm getting to this green color, I am so excited. I love spinning this green. And I'm really enjoying as well the tencel. It is such a magnificent texture. It is combed so amazingly. It's crazy, Tara, the quality of these. Tara is the owner of Spin Monkeys, and she just did such a fantastic job with these. I will be a little bit sad when they're finished, but totally okay. I haven't decided how I'm going to ply it, if I'm going to ply it upon itself, or if I'm going to go ahead and spin 2 more ounces of something else. This is 1.85 ounces, so about 2 ounces of something else and then ply it together. If I do that, I will probably use something natural. I do have maybe 2 ounces of natural silk that I received from a friend of mine in Berlin quite a while ago. Almost a year ago now, I guess. So I was almost thinking that I had nothing to work on and was thinking, oh, especially because I didn't buy anything at this yarn store. And that's one of the reasons why I really desperately wanted to buy something at this yarn store, because I'm out of knitting. Yes, I have my spinning, but at this time I had 2 Rolags left, 2.5. And it was a real bummer that I wasn't able to buy something. We didn't end up going to the yarn shop after my last podcast. We went yesterday, so. But everything worked out perfectly because, so here in Germany, I know in America when you go on holiday, you kind of tell the post office that you're going on holiday, they stop your post, it kind of gathers up in a box for you and you can go and pick it up. As far as I know, and as Robert has told me, you can't do that here. That it doesn't exist, that they just hold on to all of your mail for you. You tell them ahead of time that you're going on holiday and they basically have it forwarded to your holiday location, unless you have a friend or neighbor who will pick up your boxes and your mail. And Tina's doing that. She's over at her house picking up some of the mail, but most of our mail has been sent here, and I don't know how they are deciding what goes where. And a fiber package came to me at the perfect time. I was so stoked when I saw it. I thought, oh my goodness, I have something I can eat away at these Rolags from Spin Monkeys and not think, what in the world am I going to do with my hands and with myself in the meantime? Because I've realized that I really I need to be working on something. I need to be doing something creative. It's who I am. It really is a huge percentage of who I am. So when these came, like I mentioned, I was over the moon excited. She sent this, I would say, about 5 weeks ago. So it's crazy that it took so long to get here. So this is a package from Project Fleece, which is an online Etsy store. She has she is Kathy. Kathy has a really big range of art yarns and as well just normal bats and things of that nature for spinning. And she sent me such a fantastic goodie bag. I was quite impressed with everything that she sent me. So here is her adorable little card that she sends along with her thing. So she wrote, "Dear Molly, here are some of my spinning, felting, and crafting products. I have also included some packages of soap, my favorite Canadian-made wool wash. Thank you so much for promoting my Etsy shop. Happy spinning, from Kathy at Project Fleece." I really like that. So cute. All right. So this package is really fun because basically almost everything in here is new to me, because I am spinning one art bat, and that bat is the one that I got from Spin City UK. It's the lavender art bat, and I have been having a really, really good time spinning that. I'm almost finished, as you guys know. I haven't picked it up in a while, but because I've been enjoying drop spindling so much, maybe I will pick that up again soon. So she sent me this first bat. This is really cute. So she puts these papers in here that says, this bat has, and then she has a little checklist. And at the top of the checklist, she checked good spinning karma, good felting karma, BFL locks, Coriadale, Firestar, which I've never spun with and have really wanted to, nylon, and sari silk thrums. So the BFL locks for core spinning and wet and needle felting. So this bat is just unbelievable. So here are the locks. Those are really pretty. And then here is this bat. Now you guys get ready. Now, it feels like a cloud. Really feels like a cloud. I have no idea. I'm so curious how in the world this will spin up. I've never had anything like this in my hands before. It is fantastic. It is like an amazing box of chocolates. Don't you guys love how I'm like so often, at least lately, comparing my my fibers to like sweets? Speaking of sweets, Elodie and I went to the when we went to the fabric store, or the handwork store, I guess you can call it. We also stopped at the grocery store because Elodie loves gummies, and Robert ate all of her gummies last night. We have been watching Game of Thrones. We just kind of started watching it, and we're enjoying it. I really, really dislike that basically every woman in the TV series is used as a sexual figure, and that they make women seem so easy and weak. That really, really bothers me, because I am very much against that. I think it's so unnecessary in the series. There are so many parts that don't need to be shown, but I'm still enjoying it. I like the storylines, and I can kind of hop over that. But I'm quite saddened by the fact that they found it so necessary that so many sexual scenes need to be filmed. Yeah, so anyway, we've been watching that, and my train of thought was completely lost. So last night when we were watching one of the episodes, Robert ate all of Elodie's gummies, and so Elodie and I walked to the store today, and we got some for her. And while we were there, she also wanted some cakes, and she picked out these. I haven't had chocolate in a while, I feel like. So these are Alpine milk with Lou cookies inside. These are fantastic. I'm 100% eating one of these as soon as I finish the podcast and enjoy my coffee with it. My coffee's getting cold though, so I probably have to brew another cup. It's a little bit cold, just a little bit. Yes, so maybe that's why I'm thinking about chocolate right now, because I'm looking forward to eating some of these. Yeah, so that is that first bat. The next thing, I have never ever spun locks of wool. So this is Lincoln long wool locks in her indigo colorway. So I don't know exactly what you do with these. I'm sure you can spin them and add them into art yarn, or she also said needle felting. So look at how cool that is. Isn't that just amazing? The color is very, very vibrant and beautiful, and it's such a kind of heathered, silvered navy blue, like a midnight sky. It's really pretty. I like her packaging. It's very simple, but I like this kind of like brown paper bag sticker that she puts on the front with the little sweater. It's kind of like hand stamped looking, and maybe it is. I don't know. But those are really pretty. I'm quite intrigued by those. So then, as she mentioned, she sent me some soak wash. She sent me 4 samples. I've never used soak, to be honest. I've used Eucalan, and then here's the soak. So the next thing, you guys see, she really sent me a lot that she sent me. I don't want to open these and rip them because I think I'm going to use some of these as a giveaway. Is these Blue Lagoon Rolags. There are 1.8 ounces or 50 grams, cashmere, bamboo, Coriadale, and sari silk. And here these are, they are such a fantastic color. The gold in here and the purple strands must be the sari silk. It's really pretty. So there those are. Maybe I should flip it around. I guess you can see it better that way. I noticed that a lot of podcasts, when they're showing stuff and doing stuff, they often say, sorry for the crackling or the noise of the plastic bags. Am I the only person who really likes that noise? I love when I'm watching a podcast and they're taking out some new fiber or some new yarn, and I hear that. It is like, I like it. I really like listening to that for some reason. It just is kind of like a noise of excitement. So here are these Rolags. I haven't felt them because I haven't opened it. I really want to open these. I'm not sure I can open these in success. Maybe if I just kind of reach my hand in there, that works. Ooh, they're nice. They're very airy. A lot airier than they look. They got a bit smushed in the package on the way here, which then I kind of thought, is that okay for Rolags? Because they should be left quite light and airy. Otherwise, they're harder to spin if they're more condensed. But they still have a lot of air in them, and they don't feel like they've been damaged, which is good. So those are very pretty, very different looking. I bet those would be a really, really fun spin. I like the blue and the natural color. That is mostly what's going on throughout the Rolag. Really curious about how these spin up. Whichever one of you wins these at some point, you definitely have to send me a picture of how these babies spin up. So then the next thing, which is exactly what I will be working on as soon as my Rolags are finished, is this. It's the Pink Lady Bat. It's 2.3 ounces in Angelina Merino, nylon, and faux cashmere. So the Angelina is very sparkly in here, and I've never spun a sparkled yarn. It's not crazy strong, but I think the color is gorgeous. I really adore it. And I think that would be a fun spin. I have only spun from a bat as far as drop spindling, because that's how I'll do this. That's all I have with me. It's not like I lugged my wheel here with me and I'm going to wheel spin in the car. I've only spun with a bat, I think, twice, but it's so easy. For me, it's basically the same sort of prep as a braid. Fiber is fiber as long as it's prepped nicely, combed, or carded nicely, in my opinion. So I will let you guys know how this works up, and we'll see how much of it I actually get finished when we head back to Berlin. Who knows, maybe I have like, I mean, we're not here for that much longer, so maybe I just knit on the sleeves, and maybe I won't even have time to use this. I mean, we're just here Friday and Saturday, and then we're heading back to Berlin. So I still have the sleeves that I could possibly knit, and I still have the 2.5 rolags. We shall see what happens. I don't have anything else to show you more, I don't think, but lots of exciting stuff. I wish I would have brought one more project naturally. I didn't know that I would cruise through all of that so quickly, and I would have cruised through it a lot faster had I finished my shawl when planned, if there hadn't been so many mistakes. But it's okay, I learned a lot about shawl knitting, and I know that when I knit my next one, it will be so much easier. In the end, I just had to draw it out. That was the biggest thing that happened with it. And yeah, draw it out as in I had to chart it out, which made it a lot easier. I and all of us, but especially me, have been really just loving zucchini lately. You guys are all like, where in the world did you get zucchini from? Knitting and everything that you guys are talking about. But it's in season right now, so it's a perfect thing that you can be eating. I just love autumnal foods. I love pumpkin, I love squash, I love zucchini, all of those nice, delicious veggies. And we have been eating zucchini basically every single day. We went to the head of the theater that Robert is working at, had a grilling party, and he made this zucchini stuffed with carrots and onions and feta cheese, and oh my goodness, feta cheese is one of my favorites. I love feta cheese and I love goat cheese, and it was stuffed with this and then just grilled lightly. Oh my goodness, it was so fantastic. Well, it's so simple. I will definitely be roasting this exact recipe in the oven. I've been making sauces with zucchini. I've been making zucchini as its own. Someone posted on Instagram, I cannot even remember, that they made zucchini fries, and that is the next thing that I'm going to make because it sounds amazing. Yes, so that's mostly it. I hope that you guys have a fantastic week. I look forward to seeing you all in Berlin, and totally be waiting and be so excited for my pattern that's coming out, because I'm so excited. I know a lot of you are excited, and yeah, I will see you all next week, and you guys will all be seeing my pattern next week. So have a fantastic week ahead. Bye. We are at the park. We've been here basically every single day, Elodie and I. Just this park that has all the apples and all of the raspberries. It's kind of happened that we've been able to pick maybe only 5 or so a day, but we've been able to pick some of them. So that's been really nice. It's just Elodie and I here now. It's raining so much. It's ridiculously cold. I have a lot of clothes on. I have an undershirt, a short sleeve shirt, a cardigan, and then this sweatshirt that I feel like I've been wearing basically every day. My scarf. Elodie is wearing tights, socks, sweatpants that we bought her while we've been here.
what else is she wearing? An undershirt, a long sleeve shirt, two sweatshirts, the shawl, and her new hat that we had to buy. And but we're still enjoying it. We stay here even though it's been raining a bit. Now we won't stay here for that much longer. It's been raining for maybe 10 minutes, but we don't want to get sick, of course, because it's only 14 degrees. I know I'm not dressed that warm for being 14 degrees, but it just sounds so beautiful. I love to be out in the rain. I'm not one of those people who's like, quick, get out the umbrella. I'm gonna get my hair wet. I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's about 5:30 in the evening, so we'll leave soon because, like I said, I don't want Elodie to get sick, and I don't want to get sick myself. Robert's at rehearsal, and we will go home and have a really nice meal, something with zucchini, because as I will probably mention in the podcast, we are zucchini obsessed lately, and it's just delicious. So yeah, we are enjoying it in this park. We only have 4 more days because we're leaving Saturday afternoon, and but I'm not sad about that. I'm definitely looking forward to being back in Berlin. I'm tearing up across your face, moved us to the light, terrified your name. It's something faint. This is not a place, not yet.